Hello? Oh, cool, thank you.
And what we're going to do now for the next 40-45 minutes is have a conversation, and I'm going to sort of interview Rick, if you like, about things that he's done in his life, to give you guys tips and tricks. And I don't want to spoil the conversation, but to give you guys tips and tricks if some of you here are side hustling, or you want to start a business and you're in a full-time job. Anybody here like that? Yeah, a few of you. For people who would like to learn how to make millions of pounds.
Bring it on, yeah.
Bring it on.
Yeah, I'm on it.
I think everyone's talking. And also for people who would like to learn how he managed to write 150 books. So, let me tell you a little bit about him. 1 second. Richard.
I'm going to say why I changed it to Richard. Well, I haven't changed it to Richard, but I'll say why soon. It's embarrassing.
Richard was an ordinary boy from Lancashire with 3 GCSEs.
Anybody else with 3 GCSEs? Anyone beat 3? Everybody.
In art, English language, and English literature. Clearly school wasn't for Richard. At 16, he left and joined the Royal Navy. But the first time he applied, they wouldn't accept him. Because he failed the medical. He was 15 stone. And he needed to be 14 stone. So he had to strip down, stand on the scales, and then get told, sorry son, not this time. Come back when you've lost a stone.
The medical.
Come back when you've lost a stone. But that didn't stop him. He went away, and within 4 weeks, lost the weight and got accepted.
And now put it back on. A lot more.
So here is the first question. I'd like you just to talk to us about discipline. And would you say that this no was the first time that you really learned it?
Yeah, thanks Abigail. Hi everyone.
Hi.
I'm Richard Rick. I actually changed my name to Richard because when I wrote my first book, like everyone calls me Rick, and I thought that it didn't sound professional enough. That's really sad. So I call myself Richard on the books. Discipline. Yeah, I think it was the first time because I didn't do very well at school. When I left school, so I got the 3 GCSEs, got a B grade in art, where I excelled because I think I fancied the teacher, from what I remember. I got C, English literature, C English language, didn't do particularly well, and went home, and my dad, who was quite a disciplinarian, said to me, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know, and he said, right, you're going to go down to the Royal Navy Careers Office with me on Monday, and you're going to join the Royal Navy. And I was like, am I? So anyway, that's what we did, went down there, went through the whole selection process, and the warrant officer said to me, okay, all you need to do, you've passed the interview, all the tests, etc. All you've got to do is get through the medical. And I was like, that's a breeze, and get through the medical. So I stupidly told everyone at school, I'm joining the Royal Navy, like chest out, I'm going to be on HMS Invincible as an aircraft engineer, and then I failed the medical. So it was like embarrassing, but I didn't want to tell everybody. So I decided that I needed to change, and that was probably my first taste of discipline, because then I had to get up like every morning. I started getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning, so I was like 16, 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'd go running 3 miles, and I now started to eat a lot more healthier. I don't now, but I did back then. And the weight dropped off me, so that was my first taste of change, but also my first taste of like success, if that makes sense. So yeah, obviously discipline is like massively important, isn't it, in a business, really important. So I had that, that was it.
And we're going to come back to the discipline because this guy has a ridiculous work ethic. which is, I believe, one of the keys to his success. But I don't want to spoil that one. So let's carry on with the story. Then at the age of 21, you left the Royal Navy to pursue a career in the fire service for 17 years. This is your life.
So yeah, it's cool.
During that time, when did you start to think about the possibility of doing something else during this 17-year career?
Okay, how many people here work for somebody else? Hands up.
Not now.
Got a job. Work for somebody else. So, like, working for somebody else I'm not knocking it, it's great if that's what you want, but they have control over your future. So when I started out in the fire service, absolutely loved it. I was going to stay for 30 years and I wanted to go as high as I could. That was the plan. So I sat all my exams, and I was running a fire station, so I was station commander at like 29, and it was my life. And then something changed. And after about 10 years, I started to get bored, because what happened was everybody was getting more safer. And I joined the fire brigade to go out and put out fires and rescue people from burning buildings, blah, 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 and that was drying up. So all of a sudden, everyone was getting safer. So I was going to less fires, and it was becoming more, there was so much red tape. Anyone worked in public sector before?
Yeah.
So much red tape. And it started to get to me, and I got fed up with it. And then I started to, because I was being open to it, so as Abigail mentioned before, about the law of attraction. When I look back now, I was like open to this thing, so when I made myself open, opportunities started coming my way. So yeah, after about 10 years, I then started not being happy in work, and then started looking for other things, and then eventually this opportunity, I wouldn't say it landed on my lap, but it presented itself, and then I grabbed it with both hands and I ran with it, and just ran and ran and ran. So yeah.
So then the next question is, how did you manage this side hustle, if you like, alongside your full-time job? Can you just talk us through what life looked like then, and how, and maybe what this opportunity was, what it looked like when you first started?
Yeah, so I was working, I remember at the time I was what was called, they used to have ranks, so I was like an assistant divisional officer. And I was running a district, so it was, you know, it was a really well-paid job. I was on about 55 grand a year, I had a pension, company car, blah, blah, blah. But I had a load of stress that came with it as well, like managing lots of people. At one point I was in charge of like 75 hires. It was hard work, it was really hard work. So people used to say to me, and this is what how a lot of people start businesses. How many of you here have people say to you, oh, can you help me with this? And then you do it for nothing. Have you been in that position? Yeah, loads of people. So I was in that situation, and people used to say to me, oh, I've always wanted to be a firefighter. How do you do it? Like, really tough to get in, because there's so many people who want to join it. And at the time, it's difficult to get in now, but it was a lot more, it was wrong. The selection process used to be, you had to bench press like 50 kilograms, you had to do 20 in a minute or so. It was just ridiculous, it was stupid. So people said, how do you pass the interview, how do you complete the application form? And because I'd done a stint in recruitment in the fire service for 4 years, I ran recruit training courses, I sort of knew how to get in, because I'd made the interview questions and things like that. So I started to coach people on the side, and I would get like 4 cans of beer, and they'd get a job in the fire brigade. So they'd be like, oh yeah, cheers Rick, that's great, got the job. And this probably happened like 4 times. The first time it happened, I played the drums in a band, and I was living in Maidstone, and I went to get a drum tutor. And I went up the road in his house, and there was this young lad called Matt Hector, and he had this Mohican. He looked really cool, he was like 20. Really, really good drummer. And he said, what do you do? And I said, oh, like, I'm a firefighter. And he said, oh, I can't get in, I keep trying, and I'm failing. I said, oh, you know, I can help you. So the deal was, he would give me free drum lessons, and I'd coach Matt to get in the fire service. So Matt got in, and he's a sub officer at Maidstone, but he actually drums for Iggy Pop, and Iggy Pop fans, so he like does that on the side. So if you search for Matt Hector drummer, he's like cool as anything. But that was my first taste of coaching people. And he was like, oh, you should like do a book on it or something. And I was like, okay, I will. So that's what I did. I decided to, I'm going to answer your question in a minute, sorry. So I was living in this little terraced house, and I went and bought an MFI table. Do you remember MFI? chipboard table, put it in my cellar, got a computer, and I started to write. And I'm not academically great. I can't even spell academically. But I have lots of determination and never give up on anything, never give in. So I wrote this guide, and it was 300 pages. In my mind, I thought a guide had to be 300 pages. It doesn't. So I then learned how to sell it. This was all in my spare time, and it sold like hotcakes once I learned how to get my website up. I wasn't touching Amazon, and I just called it How to Become a Firefighter. It was the insider's guide. I didn't tell work, and I just did it as a side hustle. And before I knew it, I was turning over 300 grand a year doing these guides from my cellar. And it was really, really exciting, really exciting. And I had my job, so I was sort of juggling the job with this, and it caused problems. But it was exciting. It was really, really exciting. And not, even though the money was great, it was just exciting to know that somebody wanted to buy something from me. So when you create a product and then someone goes and buys it, it's the best feeling in the world. When that email comes in and says, new order placed by, it's I can't believe somebody's just, it doesn't matter whether you've spent 100 quid on advertising, you've actually lost money, somebody wants your product. And that sort of drove me on. So to quickly answer your question, I was working full days, full days, hard work, and I'd come home and I would write until 2 in the morning, virtually every night. And for the first couple of years I wrote 30 guides on how to do different kind of jobs in my spare time, literally, whilst I was working. And it was hard, but I'm still reaping the rewards of that hard work now. So it was worth doing it and finding that time. So a lot of people say to me, oh, I haven't got time to do anything. And I'm like, you have. Let's pick apart your day. Do you have a lunch hour? Yeah, I have a bit of time. Well, you could write then. I was writing in my lunch hour, sitting in my car with my laptop, stealing time here and there, and I would just, I was non-stop really. So, but it caused problems.
So we are going to have Q&A at the end, by the way, so if anyone's got burning questions, around did you manage to have a relationship, or how did you get your washing and shopping done, those kinds of things, so you can ask them later. So, did you ever think about giving it all up? And if you did, can you remember what were the triggers? Why?
Well, the only time I ever considered stopping it, it had gone too far. So I was working in the fire brigade, and I entered this award. So you've been nominated for an award, haven't you? Well done. I always think putting in for awards in a business is a massive thing, really, really important. And I was working, and I had this Yahoo Mail account. This banner came up across the top and it said, HSBC Startup Stars enter the award. So I clicked through on it, and it said, businesses under 3 years old, do you want to enter this award? So I looked at it, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll put in for HSBC Startup Stars. So it was they were looking for the top businesses in the UK under 3 years old. So I entered it, and I thought, I've got no chance of winning. Never going to win anything like this. So I put in for it, and there was this they asked me about a business plan, and honestly, I had no idea what a business plan was. My business plan was up here. So just completing that form made me sort of secularize my business and make improvements. They were like, what's your mid-term goal, your long-term goal? I was like, what is this? What's your USP? I didn't even know what that was, so I had to Google it and find out what USP was. But what they loved about it was they loved the fact that it was just so raw, and it was some bloke doing it from his cellar, and he'd come across an idea, and he was doing it passionately. So I was making these guides not to make money, but to change people's lives, and that was what it was about. Because I always say, if you start a business, try and change people's lives, and the money will come. Don't go into it for cash, but do it nicely, do it properly, and then you will get back. So anyway, I entered this award, and I actually won the South East Region with the HSBC Star. I was like, I can't believe it, it's crazy. And the local press got in touch and they said to me, we want to run an article about you winning this award. And I was like, that ain't going to happen. I'm still working in the fire brigade, and they don't know about it. Now you can have you can have a job on the side of the fire brigade, like loads of people did, but I just didn't want them knowing, because I was quite high up in the ranks. So they said, look, we promise not to mention the word firefighter or fire service, promise. So I was like, yeah, okay, that's good, we can do that. So they came around, took photographs, and with these guides, and then it was going to be like the Kent Messenger came out on the Thursday, and then my mum rang me up and she went, oh my God, have you seen like the Kent Messenger? Like the second page, it's a picture of me like that, and it says, fire, winds, start the waters. I was like, oh no, and instead of Kent firefighter, it's just, awful. Anyway, so to answer your question, did I ever think about giving it up? I got like hauled into like the chief fire officer. And I remember this, he said to me, you need to decide whether you want to be an entrepreneur or a fire officer, and you need to make your mind up quick. And I sat there and I was just, it actually really annoyed me, that question, because I thought there was a lot of people doing jobs, like fire risk assessors, but they didn't like it because it was, they thought it was a conflict of interest. So I just turned around and I said, I'm not leaving. I said, I'm going to do both of them. You can't stop me. So, but what happened then, it was harder in work. I was never going to get promoted again. So I just focused a lot of my time. But for a split second in that meeting, I thought to myself, shall I just sell it and concentrate on my career? And I'm so glad I didn't. Now obviously I left the fire service at some point, but I then did it for a couple more years after, and it got harder and harder. Because I was managing a district and then managing staff, and maybe I should have left a little bit earlier than I did, but I did the business for 5 years while still being in the fire service with that job, which is a bit crazy. But so I've not really thought about jacking it in at any point, but it's tough running a business. It is tough, but it's very, very enjoyable as well. So hopefully that answers the question.
Amazing. 5 years of doing that.
Yeah, 5 years.
And so, what was it that made you make the final leap then?
Well, a funny story. Well, it wasn't funny at the time. When I went to the HSBC Stars interview, we had to go to Canary Wharf, and it was a bit, they pitched it like it's going to be a bit like Dragon's Den, and it was on the top floor, and there was 10 people interviewed us from like the business community. There was the head of the owner of New Look, there was Misha Foss from the Daily Express, because they were sponsoring it, and somebody else said to me, first question was, so congratulations on winning this award, when are you going to give up your day job and do this properly? And I was like, what? It was like through me, because I was like having my cake and eating it. It was like, great, I was doing, I had this job and I had this, and I, liked the title of being a firefighter, but they were like, you're not taking it seriously. And I was like, of course I am. Well, I wasn't. That was the truth. I was doing really, really well, but it wasn't until I left the fire service that I really started to concentrate on it properly full time and really saw it, massively grow. So the time that I left was I was doing these books, or these guides. I haven't even done a physical book. I was doing like guides on CDs. And I thought to myself, I could upsell. So anyone who's in a business knows like the beauty of upselling and the importance. So I thought, I was building this database, and I thought, I'm going to run training courses. So I ran these firefighter training courses and other career guides that I had. So people who had the guide would then come on the training course, and the courses were pretty good. So I remember on one course, I had like 30 people in the room, and most of them were going to Hertfordshire Fire and Rescue Service for their final interviews. So I spent the whole day doing mock interviews. So this is what you could get asked. This is what I would say if I was you. This is how to structure your responses to get the best marks. Everybody went to interview, said the same thing. Which was good, because they all got in, but then they did an investigation and they said, oh yeah, well done, but why did you say what you did? Because that other person said it as well. And I went, oh yeah, we went on that finance course from Kent. And that was it. So Ken said to me, look, you need to make a choice. And it was time to go, so that's when I decided to leave. So I went out on the Friday night, had a few beers, woke up in the morning, hung over and thought, I'm going to resign. So I just emailed, resigned, took my car back, took my uniform. And that was the start really of my business. Not that I knew it at the time, but things really changed for me in a good way, because I could focus properly on it. And I started, the first thing I did was I converted all of my guides into books, and I put them on Amazon, and everything changed. Everything changed. So, am I answering these in a long-winded way? Sorry if I am.
No, it's perfect. I have less questions to ask them, which is fine. So I'm interested in like the transition between when you went from having the job, running the business on the side, to then suddenly, I'm a business owner.
Yes.
Did you have any, oh my god, I need to go and get the job back?
Not really, but I made mistakes. So the first mistake that I made was in the fire service, and you'll know this being in the military or ex-military, is you can tell people what to do and they'll do it. When you manage people outside of that, you can't tell people what to do. And I was so used to, right, do this, they want to be like, yeah, okay, cool, we'll go and do it, and it would get done. You can't do that. In business, you have to get the most out of people. And they're not motivated, well, people are motivated by money, but I would say it's at the bottom, it's at the lower end. If people go to work and they're like really, really happy, you look after them, then they'll give you everything. They will. And I had to learn that. So, I mean, we've got 10 staff now, and I look after them, but I also give them opportunities. Like my managing director joined my publishing company as a packer. He was packing Jiffy bags like 4 years ago. He's now the managing director. He's like 27 years old, and he's won Young Publisher of the Year last year. Because I'm not saying I gave him the opportunity, but I saw something in him and thought, I like him. He's really good. Our publishing and operations director, Jana, she joined, packing again. Like, right, if you do well, you can progress. So I think I've learned how to get the most out of people if I can. That's one thing I've had to learn. But also being a lot smarter with my time. So I do a load of outsourcing, if you know a lot about it, tons of outsourcing. So even though we've got 10 staff, we have a load more outsourcers who do stuff. And I've never even spoke to these people. Like I've got one outsourcer, and I must have spent £180,000 with him, and I never spoke to him. It's just done by message, email, and I don't want to talk to him. I don't want to, so you have to learn to let go and trust outsourcers as well. The other big thing that I've learned is about building relationships with people. That's really important. Like when I was younger, I would be more hot-headed, and like if somebody didn't do something in work scenario, I'd be like, yeah, I'm not bothered. But whereas now, if you have a disagreement with somebody in business, it's best to sort it out because you never know when you'll need them again. Even on the way down, I'm not naive enough to think that my business is always going to grow and continue. But I might need somebody later on. So I'm always really careful now how I build relationships. I think that's really important. And having people on your side is important as well, because like I say, you never know when you might need them.
Fantastic. I just really want to dig deeper into this, because literally right at the beginning, it was you. And for me, having gone from a corporate job for 12 years and having people to do stuff for me, to starting my own business and realising I was head of freaking everything, was a bit of a shock. Did you ever have freakouts where you were writing the book, printing the book, selling the book, going to the post office, posting the book? Before you got the team, how many years were you doing all of this on your own? And how did you kind of...
Yeah, absolutely. And it's overwhelming. But I think if you put yourself, I mean, it's not... You've heard the saying, if you jump, the safety net will appear. It is true. It does. Something will happen. And I knew in my heart that I really wanted this. Now, you're going to say to me, what is it you wanted? I don't know. I just wanted it. Whatever it was, I wanted it. And it wasn't about money, it was just about setting this business up, taking it to another level, and getting it to the point where I didn't have to do anything, but I still got paid a certain amount of money a month. So how much you guys want to get paid a month is probably different to me. I know much how I want to live this lifestyle that gives me all this freedom. But there were times where I was like, God, this is like crazy, but I found that quite exciting. I think also I was quite fortunate that I've been in a situation where I would turn up to incidents in the fire service, and you would have like a building that's blazing alight, and somebody's running out going, is someone still in there? And you're in charge. You've got like a decision there to make to go, right, what do we do? You can't go, all right, I'll just go and ask somebody what to do. You've got to take control of the situation. I actually think it's harder as an entrepreneur than that kind of situation. Because I'm not saying there's a lot more at stake, but everything's down to you. And if it goes wrong, you're stuffed, aren't you? But I always had that thing in my mind that was like, okay, if something goes wrong, the first thing I do is, can we do it another way? Always. It's never like, and I see that, like, if you look at how many businesses fail in the first 10 years or the first few years, quite a lot. And I think a lot of them could keep going. Because if something goes wrong, the first thing to say is, can we do it another way? When you come up against a challenge, the first thing to say is, where's the opportunity? So if something goes wrong in your business, where's the opportunity? And you change your mindset. Your mindset starts to believe, and you become used to things. And like, I never think now, oh, what if we have a bad year? I always think, well, not going to have a bad year. I always do things and make, look for different opportunities. But it can be overwhelming, but that's the exciting part, I think. Just go for it and do it.
So how important is mindset to success, would you say?
It's the top. Absolutely, it's the top. And what you'll find is, I don't know if any of you guys have been in this situation where, how many of you have been surrounded with negativity or negative people? Yeah. So, fire service, great job, full of great people. There's quite a few moaners in there. Quite a few moaners. And I used to be in that tree. You'd all sit round and have a cup of tea and be like, oh, this is, not happening. And you become a natural moaner and complainer. You moan about things that you shouldn't moan about. And then when I started mixing with entrepreneurs, they don't moan. You don't complain. They go, oh, sales have been really bad. Never hear that. It's always like, well, we're doing this tomorrow, we're going on this, we're networking, we're trying to do this. So it's a different mindset. When you start to mix with entrepreneurs, those people who you used to be around who complain all the time, you don't want to be around them. Yeah, if they're family or if they're close friends, you'll stick with them, but you'll have this little trigger. When they start complaining or moaning, you're just like, oh, God, it's just sticking my head in. You want to be around the positivity, and that's a good thing because your mindset has shifted and it's changed. So I think mindset is really important. It is. And of course, you're going to be on your own sometimes. Being an entrepreneur and an author is like a lonely job. Quite like that. Quite like doing that. And I can choose who I want to spend time with. But when I first heard many, many years ago about the power of attraction, and I'm not getting all spiritual here on you, I'm not at all, I promise. But Abigail was talking about like the opportunity and grabbing it. Grab them opportunities when they come, and more will come your way. So I remember somebody saying to me, oh, do you want to do a speaking event? What? So I've been doing business for a few years. Yeah, come and talk at our speaking event. And I said, I really want it, but I haven't got a product. And he went, well, it's 2 days away. Make one. And I was like, okay, I'll make one. Now that's the mindset. So I could have gone, yeah, no, I won't bother. But I'm so glad I did. Because then I thought, wow, like people clapped at the end of me talking. It was like, that's it, I'm away. I didn't sell anything, but that doesn't matter. I created this product. So now I always teach my staff, if an opportunity comes your way, take it. Even if you don't think you can do it, grab it and just run with it. Because you don't know what doors will open. And that's our mindset.
Love it. So this one could kind of be linked together, but I'll just sort of ask it as two and then you just go with whatever. What does success mean to you? And then what does money mean to you?
Okay. So everybody will have a different feeling of what success is. To me, success is being able to do what I want when I want. So I don't have to work, or I don't have to run my business and got other people doing it. So that's success for me, is I've reached where I want to be, and am I bothered about taking it further? Not really. I've got to the point where I wanted to be a while ago. So success to me is I have loads of freedom to go and do what I want to do. I love going in the Lake District. I've got a dog, a Labrador. My daughter lives up in Lancashire, so I like to be able to do what I want when I want. And I don't have to sit in the 9 to 5 traffic. That's important to me as well. What does money mean to me? I suppose money just gives me the freedom. When I was younger, I can remember I had a car wash I wouldn't call it business, but I used to wash people's cars on our estate when I was like 40. And I used to charge like £2 to wash a car. So I used to go around their houses with my buckets and I washed people's cars for them. And I used to make like £50 a weekend, it was nice. And it was called Rick's Mobile Car Wash and Vanity Service. And I loved it, it was great. And there was this bloke, and he was called Marcel. I think his name was probably Mark. But he drove this white Porsche 911. Do you remember the really old ones? It was brand new at the time. They had this massive white fin on the back, turbo, 911 turbo. And he used to let me wash his car. And I was like, oh, this is amazing. So I'd spend ages like polishing it and I'd like varnish the wheels and things like that. And he used to give me a fiver, so it was like a massive tip. And I remember saying to myself, one day I'm gonna have a Porsche 911. So when I had started to make money, I bought myself a Porsche 911. And I remember going into the Porsche Centre in Tunbridge. I was so excited, like really excited. I was going to get this car. How did it feel when I got it?
Fast.
No, it was good. So we were having a chat earlier on about with the money. Don't get me wrong, money is great. It allows you to do things. But I always say like mind the gap. So like somebody says, oh, I want to earn 100 grand a year, 200 grand, I don't know why. And they don't know. So if I was starting out again with money, I would say, I would set myself a target of what I want to earn a month. And then I would look after it once I reached it. So I would protect that amount. Let's say you want to take home 10 grand a month. Get to that amount and protect it. That's better than keep pushing and pushing and pushing and getting greedy, because it's lovely having material things, but as you said, they don't mean anything. You know, you get your nice watch, you get a car, yeah, but they don't, it doesn't really mean anything. So does money mean anything?
And he's got a bling watch.
It doesn't mean anything to me. I like it, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to change it, but I could go back to driving my Renault Clio, T-Reg Renault Clio I had, which was 800 quid, and I would be just as happy. So, yeah.
Awesome. So, the next question is my favourite subject. I have a book on it, because you helped me write it. By the way, this is the only copy left of the book. It's out of print after
£500 signed copy.
After this one sells. There are £500 on Amazon at times signed by the author. Don't buy one. You can get it on Kindle, or you can get this one. Anyway, so my question is, it's around time management and discipline, and I'd just love you to kind of talk us through a day, sort of now, and then talk us through a day like in the early days of business, because from knowing you for many years, you've been very disciplined, very regimented, and has led to the results that you've had.
Yeah, so I'll talk a little bit about like in the early days. I mean, when I was in the fire brigade, it was obviously a whirlwind of working in the evenings, working at weekends. It was crazy. But if we go back to when I'd left, and then I was like, I'm not saying a proper entrepreneur, but I was doing it full time. One thing I thought about was when am I the most productive? And I think back to when I was writing in the evenings, late at night. That was my most productive time. I don't know about you guys, but like I would sit at work in my office and be like, oh, I've done my job now, I'm bored. Get home and I'd come to life. So like from 8 o'clock at night to like 2 in the morning, I would like be a machine writing. And that for me was my most productive time. I would always have a routine, like I would get up early in the morning, like relatively early, like 5:30. I would go to the gym, or I would walk my dog. One of the best things I did was go walking, really. Anybody walk brisk walking? Love it, that's great for the mind, really good for the mind. So I used to do a lot of like walking in the morning, only half an hour, I'd walk really quick, come back, and then I'd get to the office before the traffic. So I hate sitting in traffic, waste of time. So I'd get there really early, and then I would meet with like my managing director, and we'd always, one thing I'd say that was great about the fire service, we used to have these really boring meetings called LSGG, and it was Local Service Delivery Group. We all used to get together, and they would go around the table and ask everybody, right, what have you done this last month? And you'd have to list it, what you've done, or what have you done? And they'd go on all day, they were boring, but they made you accountable. So I implemented that into my business. So every 2 weeks I meet with my managing director and I give him things to do. So I go, what's working at the moment? And I go, this. I'll say, right, I want you to do more of this. What about this? What about that? We'd have targets. I'll give him targets to work for, and he has to come back and respond to them. And if he's late with something, I want to know why. It's all about discipline. So that would take me up until 11 o'clock. And I'd then go home. Because in the afternoon, I'm no good, the way you guys. In the afternoon, I'm not as productive, but then I become productive in the evening again, and then I would work. So it's all about, I like having a routine, call it OCD. Structure, and then just, taking action is really important. I don't have to do much now, which is really nice, but I still like to be involved in the business. But that was another thing that I found difficult, first of all, was letting go and just letting him run it. But he's actually better than me, than what I was, because he's a smart lad, he's really good with internet marketing, like really, really good. We do a lot of stuff on YouTube now. A lot of stuff. So if you have a business and you're struggling for traffic, I would get on YouTube because it's free. I mean, our channel now has, I think it's like 1.25 million minutes watched every 28 days, and it's all free of charge. A lot of people are on YouTube. How many of you guys use YouTube? Yeah, not many people watch TV anymore, they watch YouTube. So, get your business on YouTube. I hope I answered the question, sorry.
You did, it was perfect. I love Instagram, anyway. I don't think it drives traffic as well as YouTube, but my Instagram...
YouTube's like...
Instagram guys...
Yeah, you're really good on Instagram. I like YouTube because on YouTube I can do a video, and when I started out on YouTube, I do a 40-minute video. You never sell on YouTube. You see some business owners and they do an advert on there, you're not going to get any sales. You have to give information. So I used to do 40-minute videos on teaching people, and then at the end I would go, okay, well if you'd like to buy a book, and it generates thousands and thousands of sales every year. And then I realised people don't want that much content, so now they're 5 or 10 minutes. If you go on my YouTube channel, it's called Career Vids with a Z. I think it was trying to be cool with the kids. So Career Vids, and they're all just homemade videos on how to pass an exam and get an interview. But the traffic is phenomenal. It's just, it's great. Sorry, I'm short.
Top tip there. So you kind of half answered. So before I ask my final question, I was literally going to say, where can these guys find you online? So
if is anyone interested in writing a book? Yeah. Okay, I mean, it's great because it gives you something to sell. I run training courses, they're free of charge. So if you go to the website bookcourse.co.uk, so bookcourse.co.uk, then you can find out about a course that I run. It's free, it doesn't cost anything. So somebody's already been, the wages they've been.
Pack full of value, really.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I'm all about giving. All about giving, because I think if you give, you get back. That's what I feel. So,
and that's exactly why I worked with Rick when I first met him. Also, HMS Invincible was my sign. We have something in common, but that was my thing. So before we get to Q&A, final question. What's the legacy that you want to leave?
I'm really proud of the books that I created and the brand. It's called, I haven't even mentioned it, it's called howtobecome.com with the number 2, so it's howtobecome.com. I've helped literally thousands and thousands of people find employment. So we get a lot of people contact us and go, I've got a job I have to use. I'm really proud of that, so that's my legacy. On the YouTube videos, we get a lot of people thanking us for passing their 11, but we do educational stuff now, GCSEs, 11 plus. So that, I would say, is my legacy, is that brand of books. I'm really proud of them. And helping people get their jobs, get jobs, I really like that. And also helping people publish their books is a nice feeling as well. So, yeah. Bit of help.
Fantastic. Can we get a round of applause for Rick? Just incidentally, Rick doesn't do interviews like this. This is a big favour to me,
Yeah.
but the fact that we've known each other for so long. So thank you so much
You're most
for
welcome.
coming the whole way here as well. So we've got about 10 minutes now for questions. So first question. Yeah.
Actually, it's two, because you just said what one of the things that I wanted to ask you. I was going to ask you, do you help other people or manage other people to get published with their books?
Yes, so do I help other people publish their books? Absolutely. I have a mentoring program, which is £1,500 plus VAT. I haven't come here to mention that, but I do run a program. It's like a 12-month program where I help you to publish your book. So we don't take on authors, because one of the USPs of our business is we keep the intellectual property. But I do a side hustle, now a different thing, where I coach people to write and publish their own books. I'm a massive believer in self-publishing.
Yeah.
So the way that Amazon's going is just crazy. And I think it's a great platform.
For me, it's the marketing. You can do all the business,
Yeah.
but not the marketing.
Yeah, we're really, really good at marketing. So for the last 3 years, we've won the Nielsen Digital Marketing Award, which is like the top accolade in the publishing industry. If you come on the course, so Saturday, 3rd of November, we do it once a month.
Yeah.
Come on that next one. My managing director, Josh, I forced him to do a speaking like for an hour. So I think that was his first time that he'd done it when you came. Yeah, he's very nervous, bless him. I pushed him up there, have a product and sell it. He's okay, I'll do it. But he's really glad he's done it. So I'm trying to help him on his speaking event. But if you listen to Josh, he's the man with marketing.
Brilliant.
It's really good. And there's loads of free ways you can do it. Yeah, you're responsible for the marketing for your book. And it's where a lot of people fall down, they don't bother doing the marketing. That's when we come to life. It's like we're always looking for ways to market. And there's so many different things you can do now. Like when I started, there was no Facebook. That's how old I am. So, yeah, come along to the course and just have a look. You don't need to join my mentoring, but just come along.
Part two was, when did you believe that you were a success being a writer and publishing your work?
I still don't think I am. It sounds crazy. Yeah, I know. My books work because they're simple. And I'm very much about do this, do that, and it all comes from my fire brigade background. Because I used to write operational procedures and I just wrote the books that way. And people seem to like them. I did, when I won my first award, I won Specialist Consumer Publisher of the Year, and I beat the likes of Faber and Faber, and I was sat there thinking, wow, I can't believe I just won this, how far I'd come. So then I thought, oh, I must be okay. My books aren't perfect. Like I have some authors who spend months and sometimes years waiting to get their content out. And I'm like, get it out there and improve it later on. You know, because otherwise you're just hanging around for years. Yeah, get it out there. Because if you self-publish a book, you can always log on and change it later on. So I'm very much about, yeah, try and make it perfect, but you can improve it later on. Get it out there.
Next question.
At one time, it seemed like everybody was writing a book
Yeah.
to promote their business, and
Yes.
it just seemed some of them were much better than others.
Yeah.
Is it worth the effort and the time to write a book? I'm thinking for business promotion,
Yeah, so there's
not
different-
just pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's loads of different ways you could write a book. Let me think. So there's royalties. So you could do it for royalties. That's one of the main reasons I started. Was we'll make money from books. You can position yourself as an expert. You can do it to generate leads or promote yourself. So you have to define what you're doing it for. Be really clear about that. So I was saying to this gentleman earlier on that, like, if you're in a business and you want to promote yourself, a book is a brilliant way, I think, of building a connection with your audience. So a lot of people say, oh, a book's a new business card, whatever. The best way to do it is to have a book and give it away for free online and then generate leads from it, i.e. names and email addresses. If you give your book away for free, it's like a download or even a hard copy. And I've tested both. Download is perfectly fine, doesn't cost you anything. Most people won't read it, but you've already built that connection. You obviously have to have something else to offer people later on. So to answer your question, yes, I think it is absolutely worth it. But if you're doing it from a business perspective, aim for 100 pages. Don't go 200 or 300. Yeah. If you're going to be giving it away as a lead. I always say to people, write 3 pages a day, and after a month you have almost 100 pages. Yeah, so I think it's certainly worth it. I know you mean there's loads of people who are like, yeah, best sell your author, blah, blah, blah. Your content has to be good. Like this book here, and it's not a plug, I think it's brilliant. I think you can write and publish a book using that yourself. You don't need me. But it makes sense to work with me because I cut out all the hassle that goes with it.
All you have to do is write. That's what I loved. All I had to do was write. I signed up for 12 months and I think I was published within 2 because everything else was done. The hardest part for me was the photo shoot because I said to Rick, well, what do I do on the cover? And he was like, just go and find someone. And obviously you can tell this guy's just like just get on with it. And I'm like, what outfit should I wear? Which way should I stand? How should I do it? Had to watch TED Talks, had to learn the power pose. Should I do this colour? What does this colour mean? Blah, 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 blah. He's just like, is that cover ready yet?
I think that comes naturally to me. It's just, let's go on with it. Let's go on and do it. And that's happened. Let's move on to that next bit as well. You know, we win these awards and then we're like, right, what are we going to do to win it next year? You know, it's just that mentality. I'm not saying we don't enjoy the moment, we do, but it's always right, what can we do now? And when I'm coaching people, you know, they might come back and go, oh, I'm not happy with the typesetting. Okay, you can have what you want, but I'm telling you this typesetting works. You know, if I was you, I would just go along with it because it works. You know, and people don't care. It's like a lot of people say, I want colour images in my book. That's going to cost you a load in printing. Don't bother. Instead, do it in black and white, but then give them a website where they can go to download the colour PDF so they can read it. It doesn't cost you the colour printing. So, yeah, very much like that. Let's do it and move on.
Our mutual friend, another mentor of mine, has a phrase, JFDI.
Yeah, just
everything good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which he says over and over again. So next question, we have one over here. No? Yeah?
When you were talking about the fact that you've done your books to help other people, and that was a primary motivation, and then you said that once you went full-time in the business, how did you convert the how-tos into books? Because obviously they were smaller, or they
yeah, how did I convert them into books? Well, this was like the massive challenge for me, because when I started, I was like, I put them on basically CDs, so they were written in like PowerPoint. Some of them were on like PowerPoint and then Word, and I was like, how do I convert these? And there was no courses out there to learn how to publish. So what I did, I found a printer, and I said, how do I convert these? And he mentioned typesetting. I was like, what's this typesetting? So I actually went up to see them and spent a day there learning what to do. And he was like, this is how you find out to typeset a book. And I was like, I'm not typesetting. Like, I do not know how to typeset a book. I would not know where to start because I outsource it and I get somebody else to do it. What about book cover design? Yeah, we need a spine width which is this many millimeters if it's this many pages. If you're starting out with that, it's a lot of work, but you only have to do it once and then it becomes really easy. But there was a load of things to tick, and I just went and found out. It's like people said to me, like, I've got a book on how to be a train driver, I've got a book on how to be a police officer. And they were like, how did you get that information? And I was like, I applied for the jobs. So I applied for all of these jobs to get the information, because that's my mindset. It's like, right, how do I do it?
You did actually get accepted for some, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I applied for cabin crew, which I didn't get. I got through the application form. I applied for all of these jobs because in my mind it was like, how do I make these guys really good? I'll apply for the jobs. So we all put barriers in the way ourselves, don't we? Would you agree? We all go, oh, well, I could do that, but I won't because it's too difficult. And we used to have this saying in the fire service, oh, it's in the too difficult drawer. So people used to put things away. And it's like, no, let's do it. Let's take it out and do it. And you build up this habit where you do things and you find a way around it as a business owner. So, did that answer your question? Thank you.
Amazing. So, I'm just conscious that it's 8 o'clock and obviously we are talking about time management and the pizza, the second lot of pizza should be on its way. So, can we just have one more round of applause for Rick?
Thank you very much.